Hey folks, how are we going today? I'm talking about a game that I know has got a fair amount of popularity and traction in the tabletop role-playing game world thanks to a certain actual play podcast / video series. So there's a good chance that some of you are new to my channel and new to me. I'm Lexi. I like talking and reviewing tabletop role-playing games. The game we're talking about today? Kids on Bikes. Kids on Bikes is not a game with a defined setting. Rather, there are some rough guidelines about when and where your game could be set. The game suggests any time before people had a video recorder in their pocket. I would amend this to say a quality video recorder in your pocket. There's actually a comprehensive guide in this manual for the players and the game master to get together to create the setting before they start the game. If it is preferred, though, the game master can create the world of the game themselves. I personally really like it when a game gets the players to create the setting with the game master. I think it leads to something that's a bit more interesting and really ups player investment in the world as they had a hand in creating it. It is suggested that the size of the town that Kids on Bikes takes place is on the smaller side. It should take an hour to bike from one end to the other. To play Kids on Bikes, you need a set of polyhedral dice. During character creation, players will look through the character tropes that are available in the game, and then pick one that appeals to them best. There's the nerdy mathlete, the blue-collar worker, and the plastic beauty. In spite of the name that is on this game, plenty of the tropes are actually for teens and adults. You can all be a party of literal kids on bikes, if you wish. Choosing a trope to play as will affect what dice you roll for each skill. Brains, brawn, fight, flight, charm, and grit. The better you are at something, the higher the die you roll. The highest die is a d20 and the lowest is a d4. Each trope also has a strength, which will give you some form of mechanical advantage in the game. Then there are flaws. These are more about creating interesting roleplay experiences. Players then get to answer questions about their characters and to each other's characters. Perhaps something like, how do our characters relate to each other? These questions are designed to take the tropes from just the mechanics to a fully fleshed out, unique player character. Generally, in-game, when players want to confront an issue, they will pick a skill that they think is relevant to the situation and roll the die. The player does have to justify narratively why that character would use that skill to tackle that problem. Things that are difficult in this game will require you to roll pretty darn high. Combat has characters roll their fight against another character's brawn. Though, of course, if your character is going to tackle that situation differently, for example, running away, you could use a different skill like flight. A mechanic that I think is really interesting in this game is if a player manages to roll the highest number on their die, the die explodes. This means they get to roll again. Narratively, this is to signify that the character has done something that is beyond their normal capabilities and something really cool has happened. In this game, all the characters are mundane, normal humans. There's a separate section for introducing powered characters into the game. Powered characters have abilities or something about them that exceeds what a normal human can do. This could be any number of things. The game master is in charge of introducing a powered characters, but it's the players who collectively control what the powered character does. I think this is a great opportunity for collaboration at the table. Though there are other games out there on the market where players can play both powered and mundane characters without much of a penalty or advantage. For such a slim book, they really do pack a lot of content in there. There are examples of play for many of the rules written in the book, as well as suggestions for players on what to do if they're a bit stuck. There's also some great concise lists and tables for the players to access. The Game Master section is, of course, the most useful for running the game. In particular, the section about crafting a story really appealed to me. I really liked the suggestion that in character creation, the game master adds interesting potential adventure hooks or flavor into their town, such as adding rumors or strange locations. These could develop into full arcs for the characters to investigate, or remain just something interesting about the setting. Now, I purchased my copy of Kids on Bikes from my local game store for about $48 Australian. I'm not sure if I've really seen a return on that money in terms of my enjoyment of the game, but I'm always happy to support my local game store and I always want to encourage them to get more games in. If you want a more affordable option, they're certainly out there, and there's always the option of getting a PDF copy. Kids on Bikes is a really solid system. For me personally though, it's not really my cup of tea. I think I could potentially enjoy some of the modules that have been published for this game. There's Kids in Capes, Kids on Brooms, and Teens on Space that I can think of off the top of my head. I think this is very smart, as the rules to this game are very accessible with very little to learn, so it makes picking up the module more appealing. I think Kids on Bikes is a totally solid system for running a mystery campaign. I just happen to enjoy other systems more. I think this is a game that's going to appeal to a lot of gaming groups. There's a lot of creative freedom in what you can do with the game, and the rules are very accessible and easy to learn. I just personally happen to prefer more specific flavors in my games. I think that's why this channel exists, honestly. If you are in a tabletop role-playing game group and you're looking to try out a new system and you're worried about the learning curve for a new one, I definitely think this is one that is worth having a look at. I also think if you're not too sure about what you want to try next, this one's definitely one that I think has a lot of appeal for a lot of different players. So those were my thoughts on Kids on Bikes. While it isn't my personal taste, I still think it is a fantastically written game. If you're a fan of Kids on Bikes, feel free to tell me why I'm wrong in the comments for not enjoying it. Or perhaps do you have a game that you know a lot of people enjoy that's really popular but you just don't want to play it, or it just doesn't appeal to you? Share that too, if you want. If you enjoyed today's video, I encourage you to like, subscribe, maybe share with a friend. It just helps keep me motivated. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope to see you next time at the gaming table. Bye!